Hi all, Miss Hoth here. Just a little bit of information about the Latin GCSE. So the course is split into two parts. It's 50% language and 50% literature. With regards to the language, we've learnt a lot of this already. So you'll just be building on what we already know. The nice thing is that there is a prescribed vocab list. So as long as you learn every word on that list, then you are set and prepared for the exam. And there is one paper which consists of a comprehension, a translation, and then some grammar questions. The grammar questions are a tiny little part of the exam and they are really straightforward. So they're things like what case is this noun, what tense is this verb, that sort of thing. Students who are aiming for a 7, 8 or 9, so the top grades, essentially you just need to learn the whole vocab list and you're well on your way to getting a good grade, because if you know what every word means, the grammar sort of falls into place around that. I always recommend students to revise little but often, so get chanting endings as often as you can. It's a subject where, well, like most subjects, you cannot leave everything till the end to cram because there's just too much information, which is why it's so important to keep on top of things as we go through. And obviously, we'll do a lot of translation practice over the course of the 2 years, because that is essentially what you will be asked to do in the exam at the end. The other half of the course is literature, and half of that literature is prose and half is verse. So prose just means not poetry. There are 2 texts that we will study. One of them is all about witches, so moon-obsessed, flesh-eating women, so quite an interesting text. And the other one is about a guy called Pythias, who is essentially almost like a candidate of The Apprentice. He tries to kind of sell someone something that isn't as good as he makes it sound. Both of these texts we read in Latin. We translate them together and we analyse them together. So we talk about the way the language is used to make the text interesting, dramatic, emotional, all that kind of thing. So there'll be some skills taken here that you've learnt in your English literature lessons, this sort of textual analysis. And the other literature that you do, so the other half of the literature section is from the poem Virgil's Aeneid, and this is all about the mythological founder of Rome, Aeneas, and the section that we read from this text is when he goes into the underworld. So he meets people from his past, and he also meets people of the future, because that's how the underworld works. And again, we read this in Latin and we analyse it as well. And the nice thing about both literature papers is that everything that's on that paper we will have translated together and we will have analysed together. So there is absolutely nothing coming up in that exam that you won't have seen already and that we won't have discussed in depth. So it's quite straightforward to revise for. Here are some reasons to study the GCSE. The most important ones that I want to mention are that you already enjoy the subject, because if you don't in year 9, then it is not for you in year 10 and 11, because it's just more of the same and adding to what you already know, and it is not an easy GCSE. So if you are not enjoying it and you don't fancy the challenge, then it's not one to choose. But if you do like the idea of a challenge and if you are already enjoying the subject, then you will absolutely love it. The other thing that is a reason that a lot of students take it is that because it's a difficult GCSE, you're immediately proving that you're clever by doing it. If you have it on your CV and if you've done well in it, people know that you're intelligent. There are some other reasons here that you can have a little read of, but I'm going to stop wittering now. If there's anything else that you need to ask me, then just drop me an email. The other thing is the exam board for this GCSE is OCR. That's the only exam board that does Latin.